So, what is the one metric that could define your EU project's future in the next 5 years? It's called the AWTY Transition to a War Economy Index. Yeah, it's real, it exists. It shows the shift in EU funding and in the EU economy and in the world economy from peace to resilience, from the peace dividend to investment in military and defense, from soft goals to strategic power. It shows all those changes and also shows which countries lead the race. The results of the index show which countries lead that race. This race should not be necessary. I know, I agree completely. But, well, in the real world, you can help dealing with roles. You have to find a way to deal with them. And that's part of today's episode. Just a part of it. We have an interview with Lily Bethencourt from Cyprus to Latvia. This French girl shares what it's really like to manage more than 20 EU projects before the age of 30. What a resume. Wait until you hear what she says about shaping the future versus just filling some forms. It's very worthwhile, this interview. We also break down 30 million horizon call. It's about resilience to extreme heat. Well, you can understand why we are in this heat wave, and believe me, down here in the south of Europe, it's really hot. But in reality, this call is also about health, AI, and, well, proving that your solution is scalable. So if you're building a project right now, don't skip this one. So let's start. If your next project had to survive a shift from peace to war conditions, would it still be relevant? Would it still get funded? That's one of the questions you can answer with this new index that's going to be published next Friday, the AWTY War Economy Index. It tracks how 175 countries shifted their economies and what they have been doing between 1990 and 2024. And it does this across five vectors, five indicators: military spending, military innovation, military alliances, stability, and influence. Why does this matter for research and innovation projects? Well, why should you care about this? Actually, innovation, not defense budgets, is what separates winners in a war. That's, I know, a contested statement, but widely accepted. So countries with smart dual-use research and development will score higher in this index. And actually, only 18% of the world scores above average in military innovation. And the thing is, military innovation doesn't happen for itself. It needs research. This is more than just geopolitics. It's a wake-up call for research consortia. EU funding will increasingly reward projects that show security spillovers. Fancy word to say the results will be usable in the defense sector. The EU funding will reward tech that works in unstable environments and solutions that align with the European resilience goals, which became much more important nowadays, the resilience goals for Europe. So, if you want your next proposal to be approved, you should integrate dual-use pathways, but that will show that your project will have both civilian and security benefits. You should integrate interoperability, so partners across multiple countries will develop robust defense ties. It should also integrate risk readiness and highlighting how your solution will work even in fragile contexts, and should also finally integrate stability planning. So, meaning that your project should propose tools that will boost institutional resilience even in those shaky contexts. So this Friday, there's a new index will be published in my newsletter, Polisdoxa, the transitions letter, and you'll get country rankings, risk clusters. You'll get a ton of information. This was has been built in the past few months with thousands of data points, so it has been quite a work. I'm not complaining. I enjoyed doing it. And the thing is, in any proposal checklist nowadays, you should incorporate these issues. So subscribe now, free, because this data could give your proposal a serious advantage over the competition. This world is rearming, and it's rearming faster than it's decarbonizing. It's stupid, I know, but that's the reality. So the only safe bet is innovation that adapts, that goes both ways, dual use. So don't forget this Friday the new index, and next week my newsletter will publish the new index for the transition to the new globalization. So you go to the podcast notes and get the subscribe link, share, like, and it's Friday, the 11th of July, and future-proof your next Horizon project before, well, someone else does. See you. Bye. So, welcome back to InnovEU. I want to thank Lily Bethencourt for being here. Welcome, Lily. I hope I pronounced your name correctly.
Yes.
I'm very eager to learn about the European University of Technology and about your experience in EU projects like the EMAMA project I heard about. But before that, can you tell us a little bit about who you are, where you are, and what do you do?
Okay, well, I'm currently in France, in Troyes, in the Champagne region. So this is a pretty nice place to be, I would say. Um, I would say that I'm a young professional in project management. I'm trying to make my way there. And what do I do? Well, I'm project oversight manager for the EUT Plus, so the European University of Technology, as you say. And yeah.
Oh, are you originally from France?
Yes, yes, yes. I'm French. I grew up more in the north of France and then I traveled to Europe. And 3 months ago, I decided to come back and live in France again for now.
So I heard you had some internships across Europe. Will you tell us a little bit how was that?
Yeah, well, my very first internship, and I'm very grateful for those internships to be mandatory because it really forced me to do something and go abroad after COVID actually happened. So the first one was in Nicosia in Cyprus. I can't remember the exact year, I would say 2020. And I worked as an assistant project manager in the Home for Corporation in Nicosia in Cyprus. So it's really like in the no man's land, basically. One of the very
Okay.
few passages to go from the north to the south of the island. So that was very amazing. It was my very first experience. I was really lost at that time. It was really confusing what was those European projects and how it was funded and how it was happening. And then during my master's, I joined something a bit more meaningful for my career, let's say, still with international EU projects at Riga Technical University in Latvia.
Okay.
And after this internship, they just employed me, and that's how it all started, I would say.
So you had your first contacts with the EU funded projects right in the start of your career. What other experiences did you have with the EU funded projects?
What do you mean by that?
I'm trying to lead you to talk about the Imama project.
Ah, okay, okay, okay. Well,
I'm wondering if you
so
worked in any other project before that.
yes, I worked in an office where basically all the EU funded projects were managed. So written, where the budget was analyzed and used, and where we would work on results and working with the European Commission and so on. So I really, really, really was involved in, I would say, almost 20 projects of
Hmm.
different calls. So, if we take, for example, the Imama project, which is a project on maternity and mental health in sub-Saharan Africa, it was a very interesting one. It's a capacity building for higher education program from the Erasmus Plus calls. It's still ongoing. Well, I'm not part of the team anymore because I changed my workplace,
Yeah.
but the team is still working very hard on that. But I've also worked on VET projects, on schools projects, on adult learning projects, so many different things, and now
Hmm.
a European University Alliance project. So that's very, very wide.
I can see. So, please tell us what is the EUT Plus project?
So EUT Plus, it's the European University of Technology Alliance. So it's part of the European University Alliances. This is an initiative from the European Commission. Now we have, I think, 65 alliances in total and almost 600 different higher institutions participating in those. So I know you are part of one also, if I'm not wrong, or at least your
Yes,
institution.
correct. Eureka.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's how we met actually. So this is quite
Exactly.
nice. This is what alliances do. And yeah, so this is funded by Erasmus. So we are working on developing solutions for the global challenges that we will face in the future, to have the kind of a pool of resources, of researchers, of staff, of students, and so on, to be better prepared, to be more competitive in Europe also. And we, of course, are focused on technology. This is the European University of Technology. We're working very, very hard on the European degree and on spreading European values and identity through our campuses. And we like to say that one of our objectives is to merge. So we are nine partners, nine different universities that are part of the alliance.
Hmm.
And well, let's see how we will become one.
Well, I would love to talk to you about that because, as you said, I'm also a part of one alliances, but I do have one problem with these alliances, something I haven't understood yet. Because with the projects I usually work with, you know what the impact, the expected impact is. You know what the project should do to their target groups. Uh, for me, it's not that clear in these alliances what should the end result of the project be. Do you have a clear idea for your alliance? What is it going to do?
Well, it's a really long-term process, so it can really evolve with time and so on. And I joined really this job like 3 months ago, so please
Okay.
also understand that I'm not maybe the best to answer that, but for our alliance, we are really putting efforts on developing the European degree. Right now, the European degree is not something that exists. It's not, there's no degree that is recognized equally in different countries from different institutions, from that many institutions, and we're actively working on that. I think with alliances, the goal is also that we all work together on different aspects, on the European student card, on mobilities, on many different things. The kind of what education we give and what strategies we use and what is our pedagogical frameworks and so on. And I think even if we have no clear idea of what exactly we will achieve in 10 years, the goal is to identify what works and what doesn't work in our collaboration. Because I think we are working also with other institutions like the European Commission and so on. And They are building the guidelines for the future, and we are helping them in understanding. This is maybe too hard. For this, we need this kind of support, and so on. I don't know if that's clear, but I think the work that we do is also trying to highlight how do we collaborate? What
Mhm.
are also the national obstacles that we're facing? Because, well, we might be in the European Union or Europe in general. We all have different obstacles at our own level, national, regional, and so on. And I think we're just trying to find a way to achieve little steps so that we identify how to dream bigger in the future, let's
Mhm.
say. So I don't know if that's very clear, but well, the European degree is something that we work on, and also adjusting the policies, national policies together to make mobilities easier, to recognize the CTS here and there, and so on. That would be one thing.
Well, there's this usual tendency to make comparisons between Europe and the United States, and I think we can look at these alliances in that perspective, because in the United States, if you get a degree in, I don't know, California, it will be recognized. As far as I know, it will be recognized anywhere in the country. That doesn't happen if you have a degree in France. It's not clear to be recognized everywhere.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, they have no such thing as a multi-state, as far as I know, they have no such thing as a dual degree, two universities from East Coast and West Coast having, they don't have that kind of network, kind of collaboration. So, do you think that these how do you call it? This idea of having a degree that is accepted everywhere in Europe is fundamental for the future of Europe or for the workforce in Europe.
Well, I'm not actively working on that part of the alliance, so just so you know, what I'm gonna say is really my pure
Sure.
opinion on that. Um, we can't really predict how things will evolve, how the European Union will evolve, or Europe will go with progress in the future. So, that's also one thing we're not sure of. Maybe things will be completely different in 10 years. We don't know, and we have to be ready for that. One thing, I think we need to be more competitive. Europe needs to be more competitive to have less obstacles. And sometimes having a degree in France and not being able to have it recognized somewhere else in Europe is one of them. And I
Mhm.
have lived abroad several times in Europe, and I can tell that so many times I thought, oh, it's going to be easy. It's European Union. It's fine. No, it is not, even for studies. It has happened, like that mobility sometimes makes students do an additional semester because it was not recognized between two countries, or two countries or two institutions. So yeah, maybe they don't really have that in the US, and maybe it's not really needed for them. But I think it's hard to compare with the US because we still work in very different ways.
Yeah, two different realities. So it's
Yeah,
not.
yeah, and even on the structure and so on, it's it's still I understand the comparison though. I always make it also in my head, but it's hard
Yeah.
to say.
Let's go back to your experience with the EU projects. What's your favorite part of a project? Writing the proposal, implementing the project, writing the reporting. What you like to do the best?
For me, it's more like the collaboration with the people, because it's so different, so many different profiles from different cultures, different countries, people that don't have the same jobs. So I, as a manager, will work very closely with a researcher or with sometimes a physiotherapist. I've worked on the Cielo project, which is on mental health and obesity, childhood obesity in Latin America. So I would really work with physiotherapists and then with therapists in general, and then with project managers, and it's how do we make all those people who live in their own reality work together?
Hmm.
We all have different objectives, and it's really hard sometimes to make someone understand. Well, yeah, I'm sorry, you will have to write a report because the manager needs it so that the accountant can do its own job. And so I think really the collaboration in that sense is to me what is the most important. And yeah, yeah.
I see. Do you have, in your experience, was there a project that is your favorite that somehow left the best memories?
I think it would be the Cielo project on mental
Mhm.
health and childhood obesity because I have had a really good experience working with Latin American colleagues. And also, it was the very first project, which was a big project. It's a capacity building for higher education.
Mhm.
It was the first project that I was really working on it on my own. Like
I
nobody else
see.
from my institution would actually help. And
Mhm.
it was really good because we were also developing a mobile application for the society to educate themselves through a digital tool, and that's very, very interesting. That
Mhm.
could be this one.
Okay, so let's look to the future. What would you like to do? What kind of projects would you like to do in your future?
Oh, that's very, very hard. So right now, as I'm working for the Secretary General of the Alliance, EUT Plus, I really like this role, and I don't really see myself working on any other project right now. I mean, the Alliance is not really a project itself. I mean, it is and it is not at the same time. So I think I would really like just to keep it going for as long as I can, because once again, the European Commission is, every day progressing on what will the next phases of alliances will be. So I'm really excited about that because I have no idea how it will look like in the future.
Mhm.
But there is a big strategical aspect. We're working on the structural changes, structural transformations, and so on. And that's something I'm really curious for.
Mm. I see another big difference in these university alliances compared to other projects I've worked in. They tend to be much longer term projects, and that allows you to develop other work that it's not possible in a 2-year Erasmus project, for instance. And the one other thing I learn from the alliance I work in, but I see it's kind of similar in yours. It's that it's more than a project.
Yes.
It needs funding, so it needs the EU funded project, but it's more than that. I see that you kind of like that part of the project.
Yeah, yeah, definitely it has to be long term. So sometimes it's hard to understand what exactly we will be doing in a few years or something because you have to imagine what will be the result in 10 years. So that's kind of complicated sometimes. And that's a lot of work, but what I like is that it has structural change, like structural transformation in the institutions that are working on it. One thing that I didn't that it was not my favorite thing in the past when a project ends and then you're like, okay, what's next? And there's
Yeah.
nothing. And
Mhm.
you try to disseminate, you try to keep it alive a little bit, but
Yeah.
there's no more money, your institution is focusing on something else, society is changing, and then that's it. And you feel like, okay, I wrote the project, I delivered the deliverables, and then that's it. And with the University Alliance, it's really different. So it really gives a meaning to what we do. I don't know. I guess you see kind of the same things at Eureka, that, it
Yeah.
has some deep, deep roots. Slowly it's going deep.
Do you think that this kind of projects could be done without EU funding?
Well, it needs funding for sure.
Which is another way of asking, shouldn't this have been done before?
Ah, well, Yeah, maybe.
I mean, the European Union is not new. The
Yeah.
universities in the European Union know about the European Union for some time. Why was it necessary to have a specific funding program to provoke these changes? They weren't not possible without the EU funding.
Well, I think the EU funding gives a framework. It gives guidelines so
Mhm.
that we kind of know where
More
to
than
go.
money.
Otherwise, you have to just come up with ideas and agree. Here, it kind of gives also a legal structure, some kind of authority. Oh, we have to do it because we commit to do it. So
Mhm.
whenever you feel a bit down about it, no, you can't just give up. You have to continue, and because there's a lot of funding related to it. And I think also the need for it is just growing and growing. And I guess that's why it has started in 2019, I think. We need to be more competitive. There is so much progress going on in the world, and we need to be attractive. We need to join forces now,
Yeah.
or Europe will maybe decrease its I don't know, its competitiveness and so on. So I think we need to start thinking collective and stop going individual, even for institutions, at some point.
That's an excellent point of view. Would you like to end with some message to newcomers or some final thoughts?
Oh, well, um, I think it's a nice thing to be part of those kind of projects because it's not coping with whatever happens in the future. It's being part of shaping the future. And this is how those kind of projects are very, very interesting. Alliances are other European project. It gives a wonderful meaning and a lot of possibilities. So that's something that is very, very interesting. And I hope we all have a good experience. I hope you also have a good experience with it. Yeah, that would be my final thought, I guess.
Okay, thank you very much, Lily, for
Thank
this
you.
interview. I hope to see you soon. And bye bye.
Ciao.
Europe's summers are getting hotter, faster than anywhere else on the planet. But inside that alarming trend hides a €30 million opportunity for innovators, cities, and solution providers who can keep citizens safe while creating new business. Stick around. In the next 5 minutes, I'll show you how to turn extreme heat into extreme growth. Make money. €10 million of EU funding per winning consortium, 70% reimbursement for most partners, 100% for nonprofits. Save money and time, lump sum grants, fewer financial reports, faster cash flow. Feel smart. Become a first mover in a market every European region will need. By 2030, the EU wants at least 150 regions to be climate resilient. This call funds large-scale demos that prove heat-resilient solutions work and are bankable. Key facts at a glance. Call code Horizon Miss 2025-01 Clemma 04. Type of action Innovation Action IA. Indicative EU budget €30 million. Expected EU contribution per project approximately €10 million. Opening date 06 May 2025. Deadline the 24th of September 2025 17 o'clock CET. TRL target 6 to 8 by project end. Funding rate 70%, 100% for nonprofits. See General Annex G, IA rules. Expected outcomes. Prepared regions. Local authorities better equipped to protect citizens, especially vulnerable groups, during heat waves. Local leadership. Authorities co-develop and test the solutions themselves, strengthening political buy-in. Investment pipeline. Each demo must map follow-on finance so solutions scale beyond the project. Consortium minimum, 3 independent legal entities from 3 different EU member states or associated countries. General Annex B. Mandatory demo spread. Your pilots must run in at least 3 regional or local authorities, each in a different eligible country. Organization types, cities and regions, SMEs, corporates, universities, research institutes, NGOs, any legal entity established in the EU or an associated country can join. General Annex B. Place of work. Majority of R&D and demonstration work inside eligible countries. TRL 68 solutions only. Pro tip. Partner early with mission charter signatories. They already pledged to act and boost your impact score. Money hook. Position your solution as a service cities can procure post-project recurring revenues, not one-off grants. Time Hook, highlight interoperability with existing EU tools, Climate Adapt, Copernicus, to cut deployment time. Smart Hook, use real-time health data or AI forecasting to link heat and health evaluators love cross-sector innovation. May-June 2025, Consortium Building and Concept Lock, July 2025, Draft Part B, Secure Letters of Commitment from Demo Cities. Late August 2025, Internal Reviews and Ethics Check. The 24th of September, 2025. Hit submit before 17 o'clock. CET, portal hard closes. Ready to turn blistering heat into a cool business advantage? Download the call docs, shortlist your city partners, and start drafting. For full details and templates, visit the EU Funding and Tenders portal. Search for Horizon Miss 2025-01, Clima 04. Success loves speed, especially when the mercury is rising.
InnovEU, the EU Project Chronicles, is a weekly video podcast. Please subscribe to the Polixdocs newsletter to receive every podcast episode. And if you like receiving it, please press like in whatever platform you are watching or listening. Also, please share InnovEU and Polixdocs with anyone you feel will enjoy it. Credits: author and host Fernando C. Gaspar, music Hugo Gaspar, Lisbon, Portugal, 2024. Reach us by email or DM.